Experts on the path of partnership and development.
Welcome back, and in this segment we will be talking about gender issues, and especially that following the presidency of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, he made sure to ameliorate a lot of issues and the situation in Egypt, and he paid great attention to several topics including gender equality as well as women issues. And today we are joined with us with Mrs. Lula Zaklama, and she's former president of the International Public Relations Association, as well as President and Managing Director of a major research and public relations company. We will be talking with her about the status of women in Egypt. Also, we'll be looking in general about some of the most important achievements that took place in Egypt. Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you. Ramadan Kareem, kul sana wa tayyibin.
Thank you very much for joining us. And since 2017 has been assigned as the year of the Egyptian woman, so how do you see, the year, the direction so far, in terms of any progress or positive signs for the representation of women in the society?
I see that the women are getting very high up in this country. We are really blessed to be in a country where really women are appreciated and supported and empowered. I just would like to tell the audience here, say maybe they haven't known, there's a book that has been published in the United States by a university professor. She's Egyptian origin, but she's a professor in the US. And we've just launched a book, an amazing book called Daughters of the Nile, in which she has chapters about women who have made a difference to Egypt in various areas, in economy, in finance, in social work, in whatever it is. It's an amazing book, and it's a recognition of the power of Egyptian women. Alhamdulillah.
Now, Dr. Lula, actually it's quite interesting because now we have a lady governor. The governor of Bahira is a lady. How do you see that?
I see that as a great success because this is the first time we see a governor. We've seen women in banking, we've seen women in ministers, we've seen women there, but this is the first time we see a governor. And this is great. This is really great because, let's face it, Egyptian women are very strong and resilient, and they work very hard, starting from Hatshepsut all the way down to us. We've always been resilient and hardworking. And look at our ministers, alhamdulillah, Kamal.
Yes. Are you seeing what you aspire for, as an also successful woman in the society, contributing to a lot of spaces? Are you, seeing what you aspire for?
No, I'm not seeing what I aspire for. What I really aspire for is that I want the younger generation, the young Egyptian graduates that are coming out of university, to look forward to hard work. When the minute you leave university, it's the beginning of your learning. This is when you start learning. And this is what I aspire to see. I want to see young Egyptian graduates looking forward to many, many more studies in whatever areas they want, and to serving their country. We have remarkable women who are serving the country in so many areas. We can't name them all because there's so much being done. So.
Doctor, now the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi announced that he is taking care or making sure that female or women empowerment takes place, and that by the year almost 2020 most of the women will be empowered. How do you see that, and how can we as Egyptians help in achieving such a goal?
I think we should look at women as a citizen of Egypt. Mm-hmm. I don't see it, and honestly, I don't see a difference between men and women. The value is what you give to your country and your learning and your capabilities in the field in which you are working. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with gender. I think we have, alhamdulillah, in Egypt, I don't see discrimination against women. I don't see it at all. I see that women who have the education, the knowledge, the charisma, whatever it takes to get to high places, they have gone to high places. As you can see, governors, bankers, media, everywhere.
So what about the parliament? How are you seeing the representation in the parliament today, or the activeness of women in the parliament today?
It's not enough. It's certainly not what we aspire for. We aspire to have especially more women, more quality, and more younger people joining the parliament.
It's more about the effectiveness, I guess, rather than the presentation.
Sorry?
The effectiveness of
The effectiveness and the quality,
yes.
rather than the numbers. It doesn't mean anything, numbers don't mean anything. It is the quality and what they contribute to the community. This is what matters. You can have 2 people who are extremely powerful and 10 people who are not.
Yes.
So it is measured by what the contribution is, their knowledge, their willingness to work hard, very hard, and it's a very challenging job.
Yes. Now, also, I think also that we need more women into the political scene in general, because during the revolution, women were very active.
Yes.
Then after that, suddenly,
Alas,
yes, everything
that's-
ceased. How do you see that, and what happened?
I don't know what happened, but I can see what we can do. We can still.
Yes, please.
This is what we can do. We don't forget what happened. We were expecting, of course, much more. But now I don't know why women, either they have, they did their job. They feel that they have done a lot during the revolution. But after the revolution, there's more work to be done. There have to be more activities. There must be more workshops. There must be more issues to be addressed by women. For example, what I would see is that we take an issue, for example, of facing women or facing the country in general, and have a complete workshop. Come up with a paper that says, this is the problem, this is where we are, and this is the view of Egyptian women who are fighting this issue or who are addressing this issue. Not fighting, as addressing the issue.
So we always see, like you mentioned, the infrastructure or the basics are education for women, and then from this point you can have those young ladies contributing to the society from the early beginnings. What would be your message or advice to a woman who has courses that moves away from education up to family, which is also a very important role in life, but how to balance this, their important and critical role with their families and also on the professional level, and how they can contribute to the society?
I can't tell you that it's an easy balance. It's not an easy balance at all. I started to work when I was 17. I had two daughters when I was 19. So I can't tell you that there is an easy balance. There is a balance, but it's a damn hard one, because you have to balance your responsibilities at your home, to your children, to your family, as well as working and learning. Because as I said earlier on, we don't stop learning. I had to study a lot after I got married. After I had the 2 kids, I had to study a lot, which requires a lot of balance. How do you balance the family, the learning, and the working? So it just requires efficient time management. Efficient time management, and we can all manage time.
Now, recently, and actually since he became President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has been keen to return or enhance Egypt's relations politically, strategically. He did a lot of trips, whether to Asia, Europe. He's going all over the world, and he's still continuing his efforts to set the positive image and the true image of Egypt, to enhance and consolidate the relations with the various countries. Now, how do you see the role he's playing? Also, how do you evaluate some of these visits from your point of view?
Look, he is a great communicator. You're talking to me as a professional communicator. I mean, my job is communication, and I design communication strategies. He is doing a great job because he is using the power of communication at its best. And I think that it is within him, it is in his nature. I don't know if anybody is coaching him or not, but he certainly, whatever we have learned in the books, he's doing.
Even the tone of his voice.
The tone, and know what
the
more
smile.
important, very important, is that he is focused on his messages.
Yes.
And what I see, because I always, we teach communication, we teach people not to drift from one subject to the other, not to jump right, left, and center during the, he is very well organized and focused on his messages. First of all, he is focused. And second, he follows in logical sequence, which is, I'm taking it from the technical point of view, because some people can be very charismatic and talk very well and speak very well, but then they drift. They start a subject and they jump to another and then they come back to it. He is not like that at all. He is very focused on his main messages, and he follows in the logical sequence, so he doesn't lose you.
So you would be appreciating the straightforwardness or the bluntness in some bold statements that was communicated recently? Like for example, giving the status of issues or challenges and stating it clearly to the audience.
Of course, people have the right to know. You have the right to know as Egyptian, and this is very good at what he's good at, is what we have learned when we first started marketing. What was the first thing that they taught us? They say problem, solution, and result. And he is following these steps of the marketing world in a political sense. The problem, the solution, and what do we expect. He defines the problem very well, but then he doesn't define the problem and say, خلاص, that's the problem, هعمل إيه? لا, he comes up with a solution, and hopefully at the end we will see the end result. And he also defines the end result. He doesn't leave it vague. So he's very focused in his communication. I'm so happy to see that, because I've seen right, left, and center how communication can bring a person down, kill, or upgrade. And I've seen many people fall as a result of wrong or insufficient communication.
I don't know, have you been following yesterday's event, which took place at the Gala, where he met with the governors of the various governorates, and he discussed how to get over and control corruption, and even the return of some of the usurped land. And how did you feel about that meeting when it was broadcasted on air?
He is genuine. He is a man who comes out very genuine. He comes across to me, when I look at him, he is genuine. He cares for the country. And he, alhamdulillah, God has given him this power of being a great communicator. Because as I say, it really, maybe because I analyze it from the, not from the political angle, but from the communication angle. And I see that he delivers well. Yes. He delivers.
And I think the concept of fighting corruption itself, it's time for it.
Yeah, fighting corruption. Corruption is a very big challenge for any country, for anywhere, for any corporation. Everywhere in the world there is corruption. But when you address it, you say, okay, I can't put my head and say, khalas, and I have no corruption. We're a very pure country. La, there's no such thing as there's no corruption. Everywhere in the world there is corruption. The best way to address corruption is face it, address it, and stop it.
Yes. If we go back to the visits by the president lately, how are you seeing this from a political perspective, developing the relations for Egypt, or bringing up the most important aspect, which is economic development or agreements with neighboring countries?
This is so important because unfortunately media is never relating or informing the true face of true facts. Sometimes, some media are for and some media are against, and some media don't have facts. And the worst part is when you don't give the media the true facts, they make up their own. And this is what I'm advocating all the time, that when you have to give your messages to the media all the time, continuously, consistently, and very specifically. If you don't, they make up their own. And when they make up their own, it's a disaster. And I think he is very well prepared when he goes. Maybe he is gifted. I can't say anything that he is gifted to communicate in the best way that we have learned what it takes to be communicating well. So he is gifted to begin with, and I'm sure that he goes well prepared, that he does have his messages well prepared.
Now they're preparing for the president's visit to Germany, the significance and importance of such a visit.
Germany is a very strong power, very, very strong. And Germany is an ally, and we have to be very close to our allies. And we certainly need a country like Germany, with their economic power, and to be close to countries like Germany and the UK and France. I think he has done very well in terms that he has done very well with everybody. He's done well in Western Europe. He's done well with the Russians.
Even the United States.
And with the United States.
Definitely.
Definitely with the United States. I would love to see him and Trump together in a debate. I would love to see that.
Right. If we can move to some of the tracks, the development tracks that is needed in Egypt, and we need to have your view on that. What do you see Egypt needs the most today in terms of development?
I'm a very positive person by nature. So I can see the developments, and I see that we are moving in the right direction. We are not there. We have had so many problems. It is amazing, by God's grace, that we have survived, and we are a resilient people. So look at the economic development. Look at the way we're going in the economic reform. Look at the way we're going in the agricultural field, in the industry, in communication. In every aspect, we are going in the right direction. Alhamdulillah, we have an excellent cabinet with very professional people in every field, between Ministry of Finance, International Development, whatever. We have a good group of people who are empowered. And what I see is doing is really something real. People, ministers are making decisions. Nobody is anyway hesitant to take a pen and sign. I think people have been empowered, and they are bold, in their addresses, bold in their communication, and bold in their decisions.
Yes, also the idea of holding the monthly youth conference and being able to communicate with youth, that's also another great thing, isn't it?
You're talking to the converted to me. I mean, all my life I say the power of communication is the most powerful of all weapons. You can fight people with wars, but you cannot, where the best weapon for success is communication, correct? True communication. We cannot paint a rosy picture. We have to be truthful in the communication, problem, solution, and result.
Right, but again, there could be some advices from your side, being a follower. What would be the advices in order to have a better situation today for Egypt? And I'm speaking here about Egyptians. How they feel better in terms of living standards, for economic development, things that are materializing to be felt by Egyptians.
Things are moving. Egypt has a lot of problems. We are 93 million people that have to be fed every day. We have serious problems of people not really very anxious to work. We have been spoiled in the past by everything being subsidized. Every child is subsidized from the minute he is born. This is in the past, khalas. This time is over. Now the advice is go out there and work. You have to work and work damn hard. And learn your task, learn your profession well, and you will get there. I believe very much in this. And I also believe in the role of media. You guys have to do a good job. You're doing a good job.
A better job.
But you need to do a better job in empowering, not just empowering, but just motivating people to get out there and do something. I don't like the attitude, what am I going to do? The problems are so many, what am I going to do? Every citizen has something to do that he can contribute to the society.
Another thing I'd like to return back from politics back to women, because also one of the things, of course, I'd like again to remind us was what Sharif mentioned, that the president dedicated this year for women as Women's Year, but women in debt. And the president, I remember on one of the occasions, he pardoned a lot of them and he released them. But that's an issue that's ongoing, because there'll always be women unprivileged who will get in debt because of the situation. How can we get over that, or how can we help women in debt?
So many institutions are helping women. I think there are so many good institutions that if you look at the amount of associations that are geared to helping underprivileged women or women that are suffering between poverty, there's been a new association called Banati, where they take street girls who have been left behind in the streets, and they take them and they teach them, and the garbage village, and looking after garbage collectors. So many women are out there doing a lot for the community, and we are blessed with that, because these women have the stamina, the power, and the time to devote to their cause.
Right, we came to the end of the interview with you, and it has been really insightful as always, and the positivity and the level of energy that you have always amazes us.
Yes, thank you very much. I believe that positive energy is contagious, and I hope I have been able to transmit this positive energy to all my audience. Thank you very much for having me.
Ramadan Kareem, of course.
Ramadan Kareem, thank you for having me.
Right, let's move now to the upcoming break, and we're returning back with more. Stay with us.